All right, everybody. Welcome to yet another whiteboard session. This is the Nakshatra Gurukul, and Nakshatra Gurukul is a thought-provoking series of interviews that I do with researchers, scholars, and students of nakshatras who come and teach us new ways of understanding and mastering the divine secrets of these lunar mansions. So today, our guest, um, who's with me here, is Pallavi Kale. She's from Pune and she studied. Namaste, Pallaviji. Namaste.
Yeah, namaste.
So Pallaviji studied nakshatras from me, maybe 1.5 years ago, or was it 2 years ago? So
no,
she did
1 year ago. Yeah.
1 year ago. Okay.
Yeah.
And ever since she has been part of a research group, the Nakshatra Research Group, and she has been doing some fantastic research on nakshatras, and she's been doing some research even on Nadis of late. So welcome, Pallaviji, namaste, and welcome to my channel, YouTube channel.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure for me also that you have invited me on your channel, and it's the inspiration that we receive from you that you are telling us now look into the charts in this way. Then we start looking into it and using the nakshatra studies and the mythology behind it. And we've been, like whatever you've been saying, that we've been observing people and people's charts and applying the nakshatra mythology and nakshatra stories and nakshatra trees and everything possible. So this is the presentation that I'm doing today is basically observation based. I have observed different charts and applied the nakshatra themes on those charts, and I've found out that with nakshatra themes and the Nadi basics that I'm learning right now from Mr. Ramakrishna Goel from Delhi. So I'm using those Nadi techniques with nakshatra basics and coming up with some observations. I would say I won't call it a research as such, but it's just observations, and which gives me immense pleasure to bring it to you. So can we start a presentation?
Yes.
So I again click on share screen.
Yes, Pallaviji. But before we go and start talking about it, I just wanted to ask you, for how long you've been doing Jyotish and what attracted you to Jyotish. So maybe, for the benefit of the people, and, what is I know your interest is in nakshatras, and I want to tell my viewers, Pallaviji she goes very deep, and she's very good with observational astrology. And she teaches us a lot, even in the webinars that we do. We have a research group, and we have fortnightly webinars, and she comes and teaches all of us new ways of looking at nakshatras. So Pallaviji, just a little bit background about when you started learning
I started in 2009 actually. I was teaching in a school that time, and one of my colleagues was doing astrology, and she was studying from ICAS, B.V. Raman's Institute, and a chapter in Delhi. So she started teaching me, and I developed my interest. Then I joined ICAS. Then I did my correspondence courses from Institute of Vedic Astrology in Indore also. And after that, then I was interested in learning nakshatras more, because I found that rashis and signs and planets, they do make a sense, but then rashis are not fixed 30 degrees. In the sky, when you see, there's no chart as such. They're not defined lines there. It's our imaginary thing that we are confining them to a box of 12 rashis. But the nakshatra is something which is very liquid, and which is ever flowing, and which teaches you the main nature of a person and the life pattern of a person. That in so many charts that I have seen, you get certain pattern, like all 9 planets are into different nakshatras. But the soul's purpose is to follow that path, and that is a particular design that has been made. The past karmas that he has to go through, and he has to unfold so many knots. So that is why it is a pattern. And basically the pattern is mainly because of the lagna, the nakshatra, the lagna is in the moon and the sun, because sun and moon are the light givers amongst all 9 planets. So, and Nadi basics which I am learning, they are related to Parashari, the basic astrology that we learn. And nakshatras have fascinated me so much that after learning with you, I went deep into it, that why not use it for daily life and why not apply it on every chart that we see. Instead of applying the signs, then you say it is the sixth lord and fifth lord and seventh lord. Instead of that, if you see the nakshatra lord, you reach to accurate results. That is what I felt. So I start with my presentation today.
Yeah, sure,
And
please. Yeah.
and we are including the Parashari Dashas also, the Mahadasha and Antardasha and Pratyantar Dasha, and how to connect it with nakshatras and basics of Nadi. We don't need to go deep into Nadi, but just the basics which help. See, basically it is not combining of 2-3 methods. What I feel is, whenever a person is in problem, whether for a job, whether for a childbirth, or whether for having problems in relations, they do come to you for a specific question and they want a solution for a specific question. That time, if the astrologer is telling them the importance of planets and how are they activated and what is the meaning of planets, they are not interested in that. They are least interested in astrology as a science. Till the time they do not get the solution, they are not going to believe in astrology as such. They want the solution for their problems. So what we do as astrologers, what we have learned, that every house and every bhava has some karaka and meaning. So we help them. Suppose a person comes for a job, then we look into the 6th house and the 10th house being a karma house and the 6th house for daily jobs. And then we should predict. So we try to, instead of having a large view, we try to magnify it and pinpoint the results by looking at specific houses. So now, while looking at the specific houses, if you look at nakshatras, it will be even deeper and accurate. So, and for education and higher education, we always look into the 2nd house for primary education, 4th house, 5th house, and then we look for the 9th house for higher education. So we look only to 4 houses, see the lords of the 4 houses, see the planets there, and then we can apply that, like those planets are in what nakshatra. And then start, then it is easier for us to predict. That's what I feel. So we go to the next slide. Now why it is not moving? Now it's not moving. Okay. So the Kalpurusha chart that we know, we have the 1st house, 5th house, and the 9th house. 1st house is Mool Trikon sign of Mars, 5th house the Mool Trikon sign of Sun, and the 9th house Mool Trikon sign of Jupiter. Now these are all called as Agni Rashis or fiery Rashis. They are as per the Nadi principle, they are all east direction. So whether it is 5th house or 9th house, all the 3 houses will get only one direction, which is the east direction. Then it is and why these 3? Why are we always looking at trine houses? Because in Navamsha, all these trine, they go into those, suppose if you have Jupiter in the Aries, then in Navamsha, as per the degrees, either it will be in Aries or go to Leo or go to Sagittarius. That's why we say that they are same Navamsha lords also. And the lords of these 3 houses, Mars, Sun and Jupiter, they are the thick friends. That is what Parashari says, that they are Param Mitra. So in a chart, whenever you see a combination of Mars, Sun, Jupiter, or Mars, Sun, Jupiter being together, aspecting each other, they give fantastic results. It's like 2 friends meeting each other after a long time. They will tune with each other very fast. Okay, now the 1st house is the self or the head or the appearance. 5th house is the progeny or the children, and it's Purva Punya also, and 9th house is the father. We can say that 5th house is the 9th house of 9th house. So we can say the father of the father, the grandfather. So if a planet or planets sit in these triangle bhavas, then they are said to be in one sign or in the same direction. For example, if Venus is in Leo and Jupiter is in Lagna, then Venus in Leo will impact the other 2 bhavas like Aries and Sagittarius with the trine aspect of 70%. That is the Nadi rule, that in triangle, every planet sitting there will aspect the other trine houses with 70%. Now, when a particular yoga, Mahapratap yoga, is created, so if in any chart you find Mars, Sun, Jupiter, and Moon. Now, I'll explain about the Moon later on, because here you find that the lordship of 159 is only Mars, Sun, and Jupiter. Now, why Moon? I will explain in the slide further. So, when Mars, Sun, Moon, and Jupiter are sitting in one sign or two signs of this trine, or in all three signs, they will give a very good result as they work like thick friends. They'll be happy to help each other, they'll be happy to be with each other. And such native who has this particular yoga, he'll be very successful and powerful in life, because success will come very easily to him. It's the natural tendency of the planets, because we say planets do not have eyes, but when they go there, their presence itself gives the meaning to that particular bhava. Now, what happens? The 159 triangle we have seen, and it's all fiery signs. The lordship of these houses is fire signs. Lords are Mars, Sun, and Jupiter. Now, I had included Moon also. So, let's see how it matches. You know that 4, 8, and 12 houses are moksha triangle, and it's the moksha houses and watery signs basically. So fire signs and water signs. Now see the lords. Here the lords are Mars and Jupiter is common, and moon is added. So sun and moon being the luminaries and prominent in any chart, the light givers. That is why whenever sun, moon, they combine with Mars and Jupiter, you will find this yoga occurring. And the person really reaches to heights. In these two trines, luminaries sun and moon play a major role, and Mars and Jupiter is common. So whether you find it in the fiery sign or in a watery sign, if you find these 3, 4 planets making any aspect, making any conjunction, or making any relation, then you will say it is a Mahapratap Yoga. The same way, the remaining 2 triangles we talk about, the second house, 6th house, and 10th house, the Artha Trikon, or the financial triangle, we can say. The second house is wealth, family, Mool Trikon sign of Venus. It is the sign of values also. The second house indicates values also and speech also. Here I have not given all the karakas. The 6th house is for competition. The 6th house is for debts and diseases also. 6th house is for pets also that you keep in the house. 6th house is your daily job also. So when you see the job, you look at the 6th house and 10th house. Because of the 6th house, because of your daily job, that is the karma that you are doing 10th house. And second house is the wealth that you are earning by doing that job. 10th house is the karma which is owned by Saturn. We can't say it's Mool Trikon sign because Aquarius is the Mool Trikon sign of Saturn. Now these are all earthy signs, and the south direction. All the 3 lords, they are also friends. Like Mars, Jupiter, and Sun are friends. Venus, Mercury, and Saturn are friends. And how it happens in the next triangle, that also I'll show in the next slide. In practical life, to earn wealth, that is second house, one must go through competition and hard work and daily routine of doing a job, and basically do his karma, the 10th house. Then you will gain. All these 3 houses are complementary to each other. And so are the planets or the karakas of the 3 bhavas. Either you call them houses or you call them bhavas. Now another yoga which is created, earlier we saw Mahapratap Yoga, now we are saying Dhana Mahapratap Yoga, because it has to do with wealth and Artha Trikon. So obviously, when a person is having Venus, Mercury, and Saturn in trine, making any relation, will have abundant comforts, wealth, vehicles, houses, all material comforts, and will be ready to work hard for it. Because that is what he is destined to do, the karma house. Now see how it fits in the another triangle also. So this is an earthy triangle where you have 2, 6, and 10th house, earth signs. The lords are Venus, Mercury, and Saturn. And the same pattern follows in air triangle also. You have Aries sign lords, Mercury, Venus, and Saturn. It's the same lords. So you can say whether it is Aries sign or it's Artha Trikon, the same 3 lords, when they come together, you will find a person having abundance of wealth. All three planets, Venus, Mercury, Saturn, are common here. Now, the second slide. We all know that there is a constant movement happening of planets in the sky. Whatever we were born with, that's what my teacher of Nadi astrology is teaching us, that when you are born, it's like a baby is born and you click a photo and you keep it. If the person goes 50 or 60 also, you will identify yourself as that photo only. How many changes have occurred in your life? You have grown because of Jupiter. There are changes, you've learned so many things, and there is a complete makeover and change in the face. But still, we recognize ourselves with that small kid photo and we say, yeah, that's me. That is because the movement of planets has made impact on our body. It's the same soul, the same individual, but it's happening in a different way. So what the basic chart that we get, the Lagna chart or what is called as D1 chart, that is the first snapshot when we were born, that we can say. And then whatever the planet movements are happening in the sky and they are making an impact and giving you results, then there'll be a change in the chart. So the basic Nadi reading method calls it as movement of planets. In that movement of planets, the slow moving planets are Jupiter, Saturn, and Rahu and Ketu. They stay for a longer time in a sign. Obviously, they will affect natives' life for a longer span of time. Moon stays only for a day in a nakshatra, and 2.5 days, it covers 2.5 nakshatras. So moon is fast moving, so is sun. Sun is staying in one sign for 1 month. So in 12 months, it covers all 12 signs and gets back to its natal position. So we cannot, because they're moving so fast, it's difficult for us to predict each and every day accordingly. So the easier way, suppose a person's lifespan is 40 years, 50 years, and he comes to you for a relationship problem. Then how will you make out that at the age of 20 he got married or 25 he got married? The easiest method would be Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu and Ketu. Because Jupiter will stay 1 year in one sign and it goes retrograde also in between. Then that means it takes 12 years to get back to the natal position. Suppose you were born and that time Jupiter was in Leo. So for Jupiter to get back to Leo, it will be 12 years. And after that, he'll again come to Leo. So in a chart, when you see, suppose, and you know the daily ephemeris, and you know that Jupiter is right now in Virgo sign. And if a person is having Jupiter in Leo, that means you see his age and you multiply it by 12 and say that, okay, he is 25 years, 25th year learning. If 2 cycles are over, then we say 25th year running. Like that, calculation becomes easy. Then we have Saturn, 2.5 years in a sign. So it takes almost 29 years to return to the natal position, where Western astrologers call it as Saturn return. Saturn is getting back to its natal position. So it happens around 29 years. And Rahu and Ketu, the shadow planets, they change together. Like in August now, after 21st of August, I believe, Rahu and Ketu are going to change sign. From Leo, they are coming to the axis of Capricorn and Cancer. So it is, suppose a person had at the time of birth, Capricorn and Cancer, Rahu, Ketu, that means that person is 18 years completed and he is getting Rahu and Ketu again, or maybe multiple of 18. So as per Nadi predictions, mainly transitions of these 4 planets is most important. That is what we use, and then we start predicting, seeing how the movement has taken place. Out of that, Jupiter is most important because as per Nadi, they say Jupiter is a Jeev Karak, the Atma, the self or the native. So whether it is a female chart or a male chart, you see the movement of Jupiter and say that this particular person or the native had to, suppose if that Jupiter, next house it goes and meets Rahu. Then you say he has a difficult time in the 2nd year of his life. Because Jupiter is Jeev, that native. He has met Rahu, like that. And if he meets Mars or Sun, that's his friends. So he'll have a good time with Mars and Sun. That way. Okay, then another planet is important, Saturn, being Karma Karak. Because the serial which Radhika had mentioned last time, it's really fascinating and it's explaining all the planets and their nature so nicely. that Saturn actually is a karma karaka, you believe. And then it stays for a long, amongst all these 4 planets, you'll find Saturn staying longest in a particular Rashi. That doesn't mean that all natives who are born under those 2.5 years will have same kind of things happening in their life. It will depend on the Jupiter's position and Rahu, Ketu and another planet's position. But mainly Saturn will give you results of your karma. Like right now, Saturn was in Sagittarius, which has gone back. It has gone retrograde and gone into Scorpio. Then what we are saying, and you have been saying, that you have to untie so many karmas. That's why it has gone back, to make you realize that some unfinished task is there, unfinished work you have to finish. So it's not like a punishment, rather we have to learn so many lessons. Okay, now how you apply it to the real life chart. If a native is say 60 plus years and he comes to you with some diseases or some problem, that means that Jupiter, traveling is 12 years. So 5 times. Jupiter has traveled 5 times around the chart. So the first round of Jupiter, how do you know that the first round these things will happen and second round these things will happen? How to know that? You cannot say that the first round, that means from 1 year, 0 years till 12 years. Now that is as per Deshkal Patra, that is not the age a person would find a girlfriend and get married. So you cannot say that the first round the person has got married or got a girlfriend. So that doesn't equate with things. So what do we do is, first round of Jupiter will start from Jupiter's natal position in the chart, and then we calculate further. After 12 years, when Jupiter comes back to the natal position again, we say 1 cycle is over. So 60 plus years will be 5 cycles over and the 6th cycle is going on. Now, how to calculate the main events like education and marriage and job like that? The first cycle of Jupiter means the Jeev has begun its life journey, which means the matters related to self, himself. And the first 12 years, basically, the child is growing. They're taking height, their muscles are growing, the appearance is changing. The face, that's what we say with the child, that every 5 days also you see a newborn child, there is a change in the face. So it's the Jupiter getting activated and it's affecting the appearance. It's the face, first house is face. So it's activating the appearance and changing the appearance as per, because every month sun is going to move. And then sun, if it comes in triangle to Jupiter, then there'll be a glow on the face, like that. That is why we say that the child has changed its appearance. After 5 months, he looks like his father, he looks like his mother, like that. So it will be the matters of the first house, matters related to the first house. Then in the second round, the second cycle, now we have to consider the triangle also, from second cycle also and first cycle also. Because in the first cycle, in the first round, he was getting the impact when the child was born. It was the biggest pleasure for the grandfather, which is the 5th house. We said it. So it is the pleasure for the grandfather, and 9th house, the father. So for them, the new life they are seeing. So it's like their life again taking shape in a new way. And that is why they pamper the child so much that every time the father's and grandfather's impact will be there. That is how we say the first house. So the trine also we have to consider. Now the second cycle, it's related to family, speech, earned wealth, or sanskar or values, second house. So is the daily routine. The child is learning his toilet habits. The child is learning to stay clean. He's learning that every morning when he gets up, he cannot wet the bed. He has to go to the toilet, like that. So these are values which he gets from the family he's born in. Second house is the family, in the sense the family where you take birth. And fourth house will be the family which you are creating later on with your spouse. So with the second cycle, you have to pay attention to the second house as well as the 6th house, because that is the span between 12 years to 24 years. So nowadays around 20, 21, the child finishes his first engineering degree or a basic degree, and then they go and look for a job. The 6th house matter. So till 24 years, you have to consider both things. And that will be his destined to do particular karma. When he is in the family also, and he's learning how to talk to the elders, how to sit on the table and eat at a proper time, not to waste food. These are all values, and that is the karma he is doing. You need not do a job and call it a karma. It can be a basic things doing in the house that can also be called as karma. That's what we are doing every day. So the third cycle will be from 24 to 12 years, 36. So 24 to 36, you look into the third house, seventh house, and 11th house. So third house of relations, sibling relations, as well as communication. The child does a short travel, goes to the school, leaving the family, he goes to the school. Seventh house, when he goes 24, 25, then he is meeting the spouse also or his life partner. He is dealing with his opponent also. Because when first house is self and seventh house will be all other than you. So you're facing the world, you're facing the outside people. Then it will be small travels for the third house and courage also. The child shows courage by applying for a job on his own, by doing some, like they have Legos and they play and make things with that. So the child is learning to make certain things, is engineering things. So it happens between 24 to 36, the third house. And seventh house is also in Trines, so about marriage also. The fourth cycle will tell events about basic education of the native and comforts and mother. So fourth cycle will be 36 plus 12 years, 48 years. So that time he starts his home. With the wife, he will start children and adjusting with the life partner and the daily routine and everything. Whatever the parents have done it, he is doing it actually. So you consider that age 36 to 48 will be what all happens with his relations. You look at fourth house, the planet sitting in the fourth house, and then accordingly you predict. And the mother also, because that time the mother is aging, the father is aging. So those who produced you, they are slowly losing their energy. So thus we go so on and so forth. That is the way you look at a chart basically. Now the Dasha, this is a third thing. First we looked at the trine houses, the basic Nadi principles. Now we see the Dasha system, and then nakshatras will apply into Dasha system. Dasha system, as per Parashari Hora Shastra, there is a sequence, and that sequence is decided as per where moon sits. If suppose moon is sitting in the second house, that is ruled by Venus, but there will be 2.5 nakshatras in second house. So you will have Kritika, Rohini, and Ashwini, Kritika, Rohini, and Mrugshira nakshatra. So you'll have two Kritika, 3 padas of Kritika. You will have full of Rohini nakshatra, and you will have one part of 2 parts of Mrigshira. So that is the Dasha sequence. So if my moon is placed in the second house, that means it is either in one of these 3 nakshatras that I have to see as per the degree. And as per the moon's nakshatra, that Dasha sequence will begin. As per Parashari, there is 120 years of Dasha given as per Parashar Hora Shastra, Vimshottari Dasha we call it. And that Vimshottari Dasha sequence will begin, it will depend on the moon's position at the time of birth. Now there are 5 parts of Vimshottari Dasha. Mahadasha, which is the longest period as per the years allotted to a planet. Every time the Mahadasha has out of 9 planets, including the shadow planets Rahu, Ketu, we have given the lordship to each planet with certain period of years. That is called as Mahadasha. Then Antardasha will be in years. If it is a outer planet, like if you have Saturn and Jupiter and Rahu also at times, then Antardasha can also be in years. But mostly it is in small size than the Mahadasha period. Suppose if Mahadasha is 18 years, the Antardasha will be for 2 years, 3 years maximum. Pratyantar Dasha is mostly in months, calculated in months. It's sub Dasha, you can say. Sukshma Dasha, Sukshma means very tiny, the smallest part, like the atom is the tiny part. And Prana Dasha. Prana Dasha is the prana which you are having. And why they are calling prana? Because the inhale and exhale, that how much time will it take? It's just a fraction of a second. Or that is why that Pran Dasha is only 1 day or half a day. If it is moon Pran Dasha, then it will be lasting only for half a day, as per the transit of nakshatra. So there are 5 types of dasha. Now while calculating, what I have used is I have taken into consideration only Mahadasha, Antardasha and Pratyantar Dasha. No need to go to Sukshma and Pran Dasha because they are very small parts. When we are reading a chart, we see the larger period, Mahadasha, and the planet which is ruling that Mahadasha, so that obviously we go to the nakshatra. We follow the same for the rest all dashas. Suppose if moon is sitting in Rohini nakshatra, I start the dasha from Rohini, means moon. Rohini, the nakshatra ruler is moon. So I start the moon dasha, I start my life with moon dasha, then followed by Mars, then Rahu, and then Jupiter, like that it will go. So we follow the same pattern. Now, as moon sits in a particular nakshatra in the given chart, all other planets will also sit in one particular nakshatra. It can't happen that moon only is sitting in a nakshatra and other planets are not. So what we do, we see the nakshatra of each planet, and that each nakshatra will be a different nakshatra. It might be the same nakshatra or the similar nakshatra. What I am meant with this is, suppose if I have moon in Rohini, I might have my Jupiter in Hasta, again moon nakshatra, and I might have my sun in Shravan nakshatra, again a moon nakshatra. So it will be called as similar because they'll fall in trine. And then the impact will be similar or overlapping. That I'm going to show with the example that a particular triangle if you take, and if you take 3 nakshatras, you will have the pattern. You can decide the life pattern that, okay, this life was like that pattern was there. We also know that including Rahu and Ketu, all 9 planets own some years of Mahadasha order. Rahu is having 18 years and Ketu is having 7 years. As per moon nakshatra, each individual has a different sequence of dasha and dasha lords. A person might face 7-8 different dashas, 7-8 different planets dasha. A person might face only 2-3 planets dasha if a lifespan is shorter. And if a person starts with Rahu dasha, then that Rahu dasha will be 18 years, Jupiter dasha will be 16 years, Saturn will be 19 years, and Mercury will be 17. So major lifespan will go into 4 planets only. Then predicting will be as per the nakshatra. Each planet rules 3 nakshatras that we know. Because there are 9 planets and there are 27 nakshatras, we are not considering Abhijit nakshatra because it doesn't belong to a particular nakshatra because it's half part of Uttarashadha and few seconds of Shravan nakshatra. So each planet rules 3 nakshatras, and that's what we have learned with Dr. Arjun Pai. So 27 nakshatras in order as per Vimshottari. Now what I did, I made a table because when you were teaching us that, okay, 3 nakshatras you have to take into consideration, I said might as well go into a deep that okay, it is going in trine. Suppose if I have in the first house, if I am talking about Ashwini nakshatra, then I have to look at Magha nakshatra and Mula nakshatra, which is falling in the 5th house and the 9th house. Then how will I calculate that, okay, right now my Aries Ashwini nakshatra is giving impact, or Magha nakshatra is giving impact, or Mula is giving impact. So then I'll have to divide the nakshatra period, the dasha period, into same equal parts. Now, if I have to divide 7 years into same equal parts, it is easy to do it, convert it into months and then divide. So I converted it 84 months, and 84 months means 3 nakshatras. So each nakshatra, you will have Magha having 28 months, Mula 28 months, and Ashwini 28 months. Then you are running a Ketu Dasha. And that too, if Magha part is going on, that is the 1/3 of all the 3 nakshatras. Then you consider that Magha is the Lagna and see the trine effects, which planets come in Ashwini or Mula, they impact the most. And suppose if you have Ketu as the Mahadasha, Mars as Antardasha, Mars goes to Ashwini, Ketu is in Magha, and you have Saturn in Mula, then that impact will be more. And really life-changing events or major events of life you see occurring in that particular nakshatra period and the Dasha period. So if I give 28 months to Ashwini, Magha and Mool, but then every nakshatra is having 4 padas, 4 charan we call it. How do I divide that? So I further divided into each pada, because each pada is going to be effective. So each pada I divided and it comes to 7 months. Now, instead of going into deep calculation, the best way is, there will be 3 nakshatras. You know the years of Mahadasha. Venus is 20 years. So you directly go to the last column and you say that 20 months in one pada. So 4 padas, you'll have 18 months. That is okay. But then when a particular question comes to you and that particular time you have to calculate, and you don't want to sit with the paper and pencil and start calculating. It's easy. Suppose Venus Dasha going on, that means 20 months in one pada, and that way I have 4 into 3, 12 padas.
Pallavi, this is a beautiful table. I must say, this is.
Thank you.
You have actually summarized, and this is very easy for somebody to really look at and start interpreting the chart. I think that is beautifully that you have explained, and this table itself should give you, great understanding in what nakshatra and what pada, in what phase of your Mahadasha you would be going through. So beautiful.
Yeah. And in this also, there are 3 planets, Sun, Mars and Jupiter. These nakshatras, the Sun nakshatra, Kritika nakshatra, it will have 1 pada in Aries sign and 3 padas in Taurus sign. Same way with Jupiter nakshatra, Vishakha nakshatra, 3 padas in Libra sign and last pada in Scorpio sign. And Mars nakshatra, always Mrigashira nakshatra will have 2 padas in one sign, 2 padas it will have in Taurus and 2 padas in Gemini. So then it is a confusion only for Sun, Mars and Jupiter that how to calculate. So when you said that one nakshatra has 2 other counterparts at both trines, but then how to calculate? So it becomes easier if you go to the pada. So if you have the second pada running of Mars nakshatra, suppose, that means 7 months are over and another second part of 7 months is going on. And during that 7 months, you consider Taurus as your lagna and then see the movement of planets which is happening. You come to an accurate conclusion. See, the trine effect is more important because at trine, it is a 70% aspect. Another very important rule of Nadi which helps a lot is, suppose if I am saying that Mrigashira second pada is going on in my Dasha right now, and I make Mrigashira second pada as the lagna and see all the houses. What thing happens is the house which is falling opposite, which is Scorpio. So any planet going in Scorpio also is going to affect my Mrigashira nakshatra because that will be 1/7 axis, and 1/7 axis gives 90% impact. So it's not only the trine, but I have to see this opposite sign and what planets are transiting from there.
So Pallavi ji, what you're saying is whenever they are in trine, you get only 70% results, and whenever they are opposite, you get 90% results.
Yeah, because that planet is directly seeing it. No?
Seeing it,
that way.
Okay. But is there anything else? Do you see the square as well? Or you only take only
Nadi doesn't consider square. They consider 311. They consider 311 aspect that a planet sitting in the 11, it will help you 30%.
Okay. But
and if there is exchange of planets, then you consider that planet being in 2 signs at one time.
Exchange of planets or retrograde?
Retrograde also, but retrograde will be, it will go wherever it is placed, it will give you 90% result, and the sign previous to that, it will give 50% result. But if a planet, 2 planets are making exchange, then it will be in the house where it sits, as well as it will go to that house where it has an exchange with. So it will give results of both 50-50.
Okay. And what about Rahu and Ketu? Because I believe they in Nadi they also have 12th and 2nd aspects. Is that correct?
12th and 2nd aspect will again become 3 and 11 to each other. No? Suppose if I have Mars and if I have Rahu in the 12th, then I have Mars in Lagna, and if I have Venus. So Venus and Rahu, they are friends because Venus is the Asur Guru and Rahu is his disciple.
Yeah.
But they are making 311. Suppose even if they are 212, they are making 311. So they'll aspect each other 30%.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. So now we combine everything that we have learned, Parashari, then Nadi techniques, basic techniques, and nakshatra. Nadi principle says that trine houses and friendly planets that we have seen, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, or at times Moon, Mars, Jupiter also, Venus, Mercury, and Saturn. These are the two groups. Then Mahadasha, Antardasha, and Pratyantardasha, that is Vimshottari Parashari method at the given time, and thus lots of these Mahadasha and Antardasha. So we take actually 3 planets in consideration: the Mahadasha Lord, Antardasha Lord, and Pratyantardasha Lord. Now we also know that Mahadasha Lord and the planet ruling that Mahadasha, or the Lord of that Mahadasha, it owns 3 nakshatras that are in trine. So trine aspect is the basic we see every time. We start with first nakshatra of the Dasha, but that also, how do we suppose it? Like right now I said that you are talking about Ashwini, Magha, and Moon. How do I know that where do I start from? So you see your Moon's position, because all the Vinshottari Dasha sequence you get it because of Moon. So you see after Moon, what Dasha, where is the Dasha Lord? Suppose if I am having Jupiter Mahadasha, and that Jupiter Mahadasha and my Moon is in Ashwini. From Ashwini, which is the first Jupiter nakshatra. So I go to the first Jupiter nakshatra from Ashwini. It will be the 4th sign. So you will have Punarvasu nakshatra. So Punarvasu is 3 parts in Gemini and last part in Cancer. So I'll have to consider Punarvasu nakshatra first, because that is following after the Moon. So I start from Punarvasu, then go to Vishakha, and then go to Purva Bhadrapada, the last nakshatra of Jupiter. So the first part, 1/3 part, will be completely based on the position of planets in Punarvasu or the transit of planets on Punarvasu. Considering Punarvasu as Lagna, so for the first 3 padas, it's again 16 years of Jupiter, so 16 into 3, 48. 4 years, I will consider Gemini as the Lagna and see all the planets and transition. Then in the after 4 years completion, I go to the 4th pada of Punarvasu and I make Cancer as the Lagna and then predict. It becomes easy if you just make compartments like that. We must pay attention to all the 3 houses of the Dasha planet. That means the trine you have to pay attention to. We watch the transit also. Whenever the question, it's like prashna. When a person is giving you a prashna, you actually sit and with the auspicious, all the things that we do, and then we pray, and then we wash our hands and feet, and then pray, and then we start predicting, saying that first of all we have to pray and then we have to predict. If Jupiter, Saturn, and Rahu Ketu, they happen to transit over this Dasha nakshatra. Now 3 nakshatras we have to see. Right now Saturn is in Jyeshtha nakshatra, and then we see the triangles. Jyeshtha nakshatra is Scorpio sign. So we have to see the 4th sign, Cancer sign, and the Pisces sign, any transit happening. No Rahu Ketu transit, but yes, in Cancer after August, Rahu will be transiting. So from August, when Rahu shifts into Cancer sign, that time Saturn is still going to be in Scorpio in Jyeshtha nakshatra. And Rahu is again entering into Gandanta nakshatra of Ashlesha. So both will be in Gandanta nakshatra of Mercury, Ashlesha and Jyeshtha. That time it will be a greater impact. And suppose if a person is having Saturn Mahadasha and Rahu Antardasha, or Rahu Antardasha and Saturn Mahadasha, then it is going to be major events taking place in that particular person's life. And it need not be negative. It need not be negative. Because if a person is having either Capricorn or Aquarius as an ascendant at the time of birth, you cannot say it is negative. or a person having a Taurus ascendant or a Libra ascendant, for them Saturn becomes Yogakaraka planet. So how can you say that Saturn in Gandanta Nakshatra or Jyeshta Nakshatra is going to give negative impacts? So the viewers should really not get miscarried and get the fear that, okay, that means everything bad is going to happen. Nothing like that. So Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu and Ketu, they happen to transit over the Dasha Nakshatra. Certainly they will give an impact in the life as per the nature and lordship of that planet. That's what I said, nature and lordship. If Saturn is really Yogakaraka and it happens to be a Libra ascendant, then it is going to do something good in his education field, because 4th house and 5th house, education. Something Purva Punya, he might inherit something he will get it from the grandfather's side, maybe, because 5th house is also grandfather. So it need not be bad. So if Dasha, Antardasha and Pratyantardasha planets, they happen to travel over that trine, means if I am taking all the Jupiter nakshatras, I am considering Punarvasu, Vishakha and Purva Bhadrapada. If planets happen to the Dasha Lord and Antardasha Lord and Pratyantardasha Lord is in this trine of Punarvasu, Vishakha and Purva Bhadrapada, it will be a very big impact which you can actually notice. And which you can, and that is why Saturn and Jupiter are staying for a longer time, as is Rahu and Ketu. So it's easier for you to predict for next 1 year, 1.5 years, like that. Major events, like a person getting married or getting a job. Okay, so now I take the examples and just explain with the examples. I found Swami Vivekananda's chart because he is really an inspiring person. And with a very small lifespan of just 39 years, I think, he's created such waves in the whole international world and otherwise also. And he's reached to the heights of spirituality. And how it follows as per his nakshatra was very interesting. Because what I saw, if we see the Artha Trikon here, it's the 2nd house, 6th house and the 10th house. You see majority of planets are there. And amazingly, most of the planets are in Moon Nakshatra. It's Hasta Nakshatra, Shravan Nakshatra and the Rohini Nakshatra. That's how, and Ketu being in Rohini Nakshatra in the 6th house, it has elevated his life to greater heights. And he got the guidance from his Guru, Swami Ramakrishna Paramahansa. So the important point here is, Moon is conjunct Saturn in Hasta Nakshatra. Both of them are in Hasta Nakshatra. See the degrees. Moon is 1727 and Saturn is 1334. They are very close, 3 degrees. Mercury is in Shravan Nakshatra and Venus is in Uttarashadha. But it's amazing that Venus is in Abhijit Nakshatra here. Uttarashadha, and that too 7 degrees and 7 minutes. So it's in Abhijit Nakshatra. Abhijit Nakshatra starts from 6:40 of Uttarashadha till 10:30, I believe, Shravana. So all the trine houses have prominent planets in Moon Nakshatras. So that really inspired me. Let's look into Nakshatras more. The speciality of the Moon Nakshatra here is, it is because Moon, it stays in a sign just for 2.5 days. And 1 day in one nakshatra. So it's what ever changing. It's fast moving. So the thinking of the person, because Moon is mind, so the thinking of the person is also very fast. They think very fast. They don't wait and do something like Saturn would do. So they don't do it. They think very fast. And it's true for Hasta, Shravan as well as Rohini. They attract masses. Because Moon is so pleasing. At night also, when it is full moon day, everybody is celebrating. All 12 full moons, we have celebrations in India. They have a meaning. And so they attract masses because of their appearance. They will be very bright. Next to the Sun Nakshatra, they'll be brighter. Moon is called as queen also. If Sun is the king and Moon is the queen. So they attract masses. And the same as Moon, they are very, very sensitive people. Then now here you see there is an exchange between the 2nd Lord and the 10th Lord. 2nd Lord is Saturn and 10th Lord is Mercury. Mercury and Saturn have exchanged and both are in Moon Nakshatra. Now I have put a transit chart that I'll explain. The Dasha sequence that Swami Vivekananda got was when he was born, 4 years of moon Dasha was remaining. Because moon is in Shravan Nakshatra, moon is in Hasta. Okay, moon is in Hasta. So
Yeah,
he begins
Hasta
with the,
nakshatra, and that's
yeah,
already
Hasta.
covered 7 degrees
Yeah.
of Hasta.
So, yeah, so it's 4 years of moon Dasha remaining. Then Mars Dasha, 7 years he got, and then Rahu Dasha for 18 years. And when I really saw it into Wikipedia also, his life, I saw that major life-changing events occurred in his life during his Rahu Dasha, all the 18 years. When he met first his occult guru, Ramakrishna Paramahams, that time he was 18 years old, just entered into Rahu Dasha, and this is the chart the day he met Swami Ramakrishna Paramahams. Now Rahu here, you see his natal chart. Rahu is in Jyeshtha Nakshatra, the Gandanta Nakshatra. Mercury's Nakshatra. So what we do in Rahu Mahadasha, the lordship of Rahu goes to Mercury Nakshatra. So we will see the transit of planets in all Mercury Nakshatras. All the 3 Mercury Nakshatras as Jyeshtha, then you have Ashlesha, and you have Revati. They all, Gandanta Nakshatras, are falling in the Moksha trine in his chart. His 4th house is Pisces sign, 8th house is moon sign, Cancer sign, and that moon has gone into his 10th house. So his karma is related to the 8th house, which is occult. Ramakrishna Paramahams knew all that. He could go till he was an enlightened soul. So he learnt everything from Ramakrishna Paramahams. That was all occult knowledge. And the basic question that Swami Vivekananda had when he was 16, 17 is, has anybody seen God actually? He had that quest, and that is how he, with the friends, he reached Swami Ramakrishna Paramahams. And Ramakrishna Paramahams actually told him that, yes, I have seen God and I talk to her every day. He was the biggest Kali Bhakt. So that occult knowledge is shown by the 8th house. And the Lord has gone with Saturn to the 10th house. So that is the karma he was destined to do. Occult knowledge, and through occult knowledge and Saturn, so slowly he was pulled to that. And Saturn is also the Karaka of the 8th house. Then 4th house, 8th house and 12th house is sitting nicely in his karma triangle. The transit chart, this transit chart is of November 1881, when he was 18 years old, and when he first met his guru Ramakrishna Paramahams. Now if you see the chart, here his Lagna is Sagittarius. So you can just imagine the chart in Sagittarius. You will see Venus and Mercury in the 11th house. And Venus and Mercury, they are in the Libra sign. They are in the Vishakha Nakshatra, Jupiter's Nakshatra. So he got the 11th sign as sign of gains also. From his Janma Lagna chart, you will see
from
that.
His moon, right? From his moon.
Yeah. No, 11th house from his Lagna. D1
okay.
Lagna.
Yeah, correct.
So it goes in the Libra sign and they go into Jupiter's Nakshatra. So he met his guru, you can say. Now Jupiter and Saturn, they are both retrograde here. And they are sitting in the 8th house as per the transit chart. But that 8th house happens to be his 5th house. So 5th house means Purva Punya. What he had to do in the previous life, the unfinished job, he is here to continue it. And Jupiter and Saturn, the major planets that we saw, the longest moving planets sitting in a house for a longer time, both of them are retrograde. So they are going retrograde, and once they go retrograde, as per Nadi, we consider they go in the previous house. So both of them are making an impact, and they are in 1/7 axis with Venus Mercury. His Mercury and Venus are sitting in the 2nd house in his original chart. 2nd house is of speech, values, and Jupiter Saturn in the 8th house.
But in his natal chart, they are sitting in the 11th house.
11th and 5th axis.
5th axis, correct.
Okay, so I went further. There were peculiar observations about the life of Swami Vivekananda. and great impact of the major planets falling in moon nakshatra. Do I go back and forth and then show you the chart, or?
Yes, that will be helpful. You can talk about one, any point, and then
Yeah,
you can take us
and go
back
back.
to, yeah, go back.
Yeah.
But then
So
when you go back,
moon.
you have to go so many spaces behind.
Okay, so no, it doesn't matter. First of all, I'll explain and then we see that.
Sure.
Okay, now what we see is we see all the moon nakshatras and planets sitting in the moon nakshatra. Saturn and moon, they are sitting in the 10th house. Here, Saturn is the lord of second and third house. Second house is of family, of values, or what you inherit. That is the values basically you inherit from the family you are born in. So the values that you inculcate from your parents. The third house is for communication as well as siblings. It was his elder brother who guided him to Swami Ramakrishna Paramahans. So a role of elder brother, and when we are talking about Hasta Nakshatra also, we see that some elderly person is there to guide you. That is one of the theme of Hasta Nakshatra. And Venus and Mercury. Mercury is here again in Shravan Nakshatra. Shravan Nakshatra are the 3 footsteps and Vishnu is the Lord. So the 3 footsteps away his guru was there, maybe that way. And Mercury is the dual principle. Mercury is talking also. And Shravan Nakshatra people, they do attract the masses. And one of the theme of Shravan Nakshatra is they have Vak Siddhi. They have the control over their speech. And they have the proficiency in mantra jap. And they can attract masses. Then Ketu in the Rohini Nakshatra, exaltation point of moon, which is in trine. And right now, earlier when we said that the planets sitting in the trine, they are considered to be in one direction only. So here we can say that Venus, Mercury, Ketu, Saturn and moon, they all are in the south direction. South direction again indicates occult, something below the earth. You are unraveling the mysteries. You're taking out the, discovering things. Uncovering, discovering.
Tell me, Pallavi ji, even in transit, all the planets in trine, you take them in the same house in Nadi? This is for the benefit of our viewers, I'm asking you.
I means, suppose if Venus and Mercury are transiting.
Yeah, in 159, then do you consider all of them in the same house?
Yeah,
Okay.
in transit also.
In transit
And
also.
even if, that is why when in transit also they fall in one direction, then only Mahapratap Yoga will be created. That way.
Okay.
Then we go to, Venus and Moon. Venus is the lord of 6th house and 11th house. 6th house is your daily routine that you follow. So he followed a daily routine of meditation to reach the higher level of consciousness. And 11th lord of gains, he gained from that. That Venus is in Uttarashadha Nakshatra. The theme of Uttarashadha Nakshatra is conquering, basically, in whatever endeavors you take. And Ketu being the main karaka of moksha. It is sitting in the 6th house. So all these 3, they made a great impact on Swami Vivekananda's life. This is what I was talking about, that moon is the 8th lord of sudden events and research also. Doing a particular sadhana or meditation, he had to do so much of research and read the ancient scripts. That is what the research he meant. And Saturn, the 2nd lord of speech and 3rd lord of communication. So he reached by communication to the Western world also when he had gone for that Sarvadharma Parishad in Chicago. They are conjunct in the 10th house of karma. So his karma was just round and round around moon and Saturn. Venus is the 6th lord of competition and the 11th lord of fame and masses. You gain by your popularity in masses also. So that is what is indicated by 11th house, 7th house and 3rd house. Because 7th house is of public.
Yeah, and then you mentioned Venus is in Abhijit Nakshatra.
Yeah, Venus is in Abhijit. It is conjunct Mercury, the 7th lord of Pada Prapti, of gaining fame again, and the 10th lord of karma. So all his karma triangle is related to his whatever is happening in his mind. So his karma was towards spirituality and meditation. Second house of speech, fame, and values. So, that is Venus and Mercury is in the second house, because second house also gives you fame, teaches you values also. And Ketu is the Karaka of Moksha in Rohini Nakshatra. Now, the beauty of all the three nakshatras, I just took the themes of the nakshatras. Hasta Nakshatra says that to gain whatever you seek. Hasta is the feast of the hand. Put one's object in your hand. So, power to connect with others. And that's what is beautifully shown by Moon and Saturn in Hasta Nakshatra. Intelligent debates using quick wit. Swami Vivekananda was well known for his quick wit. And he used to give metaphors and similes and idioms and reach to masses by giving a simple examples in life. Which I remember my parents used to tell me that they used to say that, see, Westerners are so bright and good looking, and you Indians, you look very dark. So he just gave an example of a bread, that when you make a toast, if it's too dark, you don't eat it. If it's just uncooked, it will be just uncooked bread, you don't eat it. You need half baked and half brown. So that is what we are. We are neither too dark and neither too white. So he had that habit of quickly answering. That quick wit was there because of Moon and Saturn and Hasta. And Saturn happened to be the second lord of speech. So that speech was dominating during his conversations also. Ability to unlock highest potential of your consciousness. That is Hasta's ability. So the highest level of potential of your consciousness, he could conquer it and reach to the enlightened stage through the teachings of Swami Paramahansa. Rohini Nakshatra is most fertile. It shows growth and rise, and it attracts and impacts masses. That's what he did. And mesmerizing theme it has, because the animal symbol is the snake. So it has got that mesmerizing theme. Shravan Nakshatra is special faculty of speech, and his Shravan Nakshatra happens to be in the second sign. So both things made an impact on his speech and knowledge of multiple languages. He knew so many languages. He had a good command on English also. Proficiency on mantra jap for meditation and all, that's needed basically. Power to connect to higher levels of consciousness. Again, the same theme of Hasta Nakshatra is overlapping, and go in depth and learn. So he went in depth into spirituality and gained knowledge. So that was a beautiful thing with Swami Vivekananda's chart. Here, speech Karak Mercury is in Shravan Nakshatra in second house. Venus is also here, and that is why damaged eyes means he had specs which were of high power, I believe. So Venus, because sir, you had told us one story of when Vaman Avatar was there, and in 3 steps he conquers all the 3 planes. And that time Bali Raja was ready to give him everything, and he was about to pour the water while making Sankalpa. Shukra, as the Asur Guru, he says that, what are you doing? You lose everything. So he goes and sits in that tunnel, in that funnel of that water pouring.
Spout, I guess. Spout.
In the spout, yeah. In the spout he sat so that the water would not flow and his Sankalpa would not be done. And Bhagwan Vishnu knew this. So what he does, he just takes a small stick and puts it in the spout. By that, Shukracharya has his eyes damaged because that stick pricks his eyes. So anybody in Shravan Nakshatra will find the theme of damaged eyes or maybe having spectacles. You have to do the sight improvement. That's why. And Venus is also sitting there in the second house, which shows that he had glasses. So the maximum fame and progress in Lagna Lord Jupiter Dasha. We had seen all his dashas. Maybe I can go 1 or 2. I'll go slides behind when we saw the dasha sequence. We have seen that Moon, Mars, Rahu, and after 18 years was followed by Jupiter Nakshatra, the Jupiter Mahadasha. Jupiter Mahadasha is for 16 years, and that is where his life actually ended. He just lived for 39 years. So he had the last dasha was Jupiter, but that is the dasha during which time he got maximum fame and he traveled worldwide. The Jupiter dasha started in 1892 and which lasted till 1908. But Swami Vivekananda died in July 1902. So last 6 years of Jupiter dasha was remaining. So he got 10 years of Jupiter dasha, but in that 10 years, he spread the knowledge of spirituality and the God concept and the Vedic concepts throughout the world. He traveled far and wide in 1893, 94, 95, 96. He has gone to 2-3 trips to America, 2-3 trips to Japan and Eastern countries. But he has gone far and wide to just spread the knowledge of spirituality. So in the major Jupiter Dasha, he gets all the fame because here Jupiter is the Lord of Lagna and the 4th Lord. So 4th Lord is your house, your home. So from home, whatever he has learned, he has gone and spread it over everywhere. So from 4th, he goes to the 12th house and he spreads the knowledge like that. So Jupiter Dasha was the main major Dasha which he got, and he got maximum fame and progress in Lagna Lord Jupiter's Dasha. Now I take another example of Mahatma Gandhi. As astrologers, everybody is familiar with Mahatma Gandhi's chart, but I looked into his chart in a different way. He lived for 79 years before he was assassinated, and in 79 years he went through 6-7 dashas, because his dasha sequence starts with Mercury dasha until Jupiter dasha. Peculiar points where Mars and Venus in Lagna, in Vishakha nakshatra, the Jupiter's nakshatra. And here Jupiter is sitting retro in the 7th house in Kritika nakshatra, aspecting, giving 90% aspect of on Venus, Mars and Mercury. Mercury is in Swati nakshatra, the nakshatra of Rahu, which is in his 10th house with Moon. So you can say that Rahu makes you little rebellious. The Ardra Nakshatra, Swati Nakshatra and Shatataraka Nakshatra. Ardra Nakshatra is actually, he was created by Brahmaji to fight against, no, he was created by Shiva to fight against Brahmaji. Because Brahma had created Saraswati and he got fascinated and he was running out chasing her. That's how Rudra was created. And that theme of going against the flow, rebellious, that theme you can see it in Mahatma Gandhi's chart also. He went in a different direction. Okay, everybody was fighting for the freedom for India. But he took a different path of satyagraha and he took a path of non-violence and then staying hungry, hunger strikes. That was a peculiar theme which came because of Rahu Nakshatra in Lagna, Mercury. And that happens to be the 9th Lord also. So 9th Lord sitting in the Lagna. Moon and Saturn are in trine and both are in Gandanta and Mercury nakshatra. I didn't take Rahu because Rahu was not in Gandanta nakshatra. Moon and Saturn, they are making a trine and the third part of the trine is empty. There is no planet. Mars is the 7th lord of public and opponent. He's fighting against somebody. And it's the 2nd lord of speech also. So he never used to talk. He used to sit silently, not eat also anything, because that's the food that we intake. So he's not eating also. And that's because that's rulership of 2nd house is also Mars. So without eating, without talking, he would sit on a hunger strike. But at the same time, the 7th house and the 2nd house are Maraka houses also. So the Dasha pattern that he had got, 7-8 planets, out of that, prominent was his Venus Dasha, Mars Dasha and Jupiter Dasha. Because they are interlinked. Because Mars here, being 7th and 2nd Lord, it is sitting in the Lagna of Jupiter Nakshatra, Maraka house Lord sitting in the Lagna. Then you have Venus, that is also in Lagna, with conjunct with Mars. And Venus is the Lagna Lord itself and the 8th Lord. 8th Lord is a death house, occult, research. Its nakshatra lord is Jupiter, both Venus and Mars. And that Jupiter is retrograde in the Maraka Sthan only, Maraka house only. So Jupiter becomes weak because it is in Maraka house, even if it is in French sign. Jupiter is the third lord. Third becomes eighth house from the eighth house. And sixth lord also, sixth lord of debts, litigation, and competition. And here, miraculously, the sixth house is Pisces, which is a natural 12th house, so jail also. So for his satyagraha and all the movements he did, he went so many times in jail. So his Dasha sequence in life of 79 years is Mercury 3 years, Ketu 7 years, Venus 20 years, Sun 6 years, Moon 10 years, Mars 7 years, and Rahu 18, and Jupiter 16, out of which he lived for 8 years. So 1940, his Jupiter Mahadasha started, and he was assassinated in 1948. Okay, so he got only 8 years out of that Jupiter Mahadasha. And why I've highlighted Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, the events in his life, they occurred, major events in life took place in his Venus Mahadasha. Not because it's a longest Dasha. Rahu Dasha was also longest. But Rahu Dasha is the maximum time he was sent into jail. He had to do hunger strikes. He has to uplift the masses and he has to do something. That karma thing, because it is sitting in the 10th house, that Rahu pushed him to carry the mass movement and uplift the masses and create that. Rahu is in
Interestingly,
what?
I think, Pallavi, I believe he returned to India when he just after his 42nd year, if I recollect very vaguely.
Yeah. That I'm explaining in the slide.
Okay. Then I don't want to.
Okay, so Venus Mahadasha, Venus being the Lagna Lord, everything happened for the self. And Venus Mahadasha, when he was at the age of 18, he got married. Then immediately he had 3 sons in Venus Mahadasha. It is a Venus Mahadasha that with the help of his elder brother, he took the decision of leaving India and his wife and 3 children and going to England and studying law and getting his barrister degree. In Mars Dasha, he came to India, I believe. I actually went into this. Okay, so Mars Dasha is the Dasha when 1915, his Mars Dasha starts. In 1915, that is the time when he returned from Africa to India. So Mars Dasha movement has happened, and that is how he got fame immediately, because it's the 7th Lord. So he gets fame, 2nd house fame reason also, and 7th house also. That's how in 1915, actually his role in Indian politics begins. Earlier than that, he was into a freedom movement, but that he was making groups and doing things in Africa. He was collecting all the Indians in Africa and creating that movement in Africa itself. It's in 1915, during the Mars Dasha, that he came to India. And in Jupiter Mahadasha 1940, after 1940, he actually did the Chale Jao movement and burning the Swadeshi and then burning the foreign clothes and things like that. That he started in the Jupiter Mahadasha, which starts in 1940. Now I'm going to the last time, the day he was assassinated. So I took that chart, the transit chart on 30th January. Now we just go back and see that his Lagna is Libra. Now we are taking Libra as the Lagna and seeing the transit and how this Mars, Venus and Jupiter are impacting his life. And Jupiter Mahadasha going on. His 7th Libra sign as the ascendant, that we know. Now you see Libra sign and Aries sign, it is in Rahu Ketu axis. Then we go to the 4th and 10th house. Venus and Mercury and Mars, all the 3 planets are in his Lagna here. Venus, Mars and Mercury. Out of these 3 planets, Mars goes retrograde on 30th January 48. Mars being the Marakasthana Lord, 7th Lord and 2nd Lord, that has gone retrograde. So that is causing the assassination, because Mars is weapons also, and Mars is injuries also, blood. So that is what the injury that it gave him. It was sitting in Aries sign. And the remaining two planets in Lagna, they went opposite to Mars, which is the Aquarius sign. So they were in the 5th and 11th axis. See, Venus, Mercury, they are in the 11th sign, and Venus, Mercury happened to be in Purva Bhadrapada nakshatra of Jupiter. That's what we were talking. If we see the Dasha Lord, and it's 3 nakshatras.
Yeah, I think when he was assassinated, I was just calculating mentally. It must have been Purva Bhadrapada.
Yeah, 11th. Correct. And Purva Bhadrapada, again, you will have Purva Bhadrapada, 3 padas in Aquarius, and the last pada.
Yeah. So which he was in his last pada? No.
Yeah, last pada, third last pada.
Yeah. No, third or fourth?
See, 1940 the Jupiter Dasha starts, and 48 he is killed. 8 years. Means half of it should have happened. Now his moon is in
5 years,
Cancer.
5 years, 4 months would have been Vishakha, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, he started with Vishakha in Libra, in his Lagna house. Correct. And then he went to, so it is the second, 2/3 part of his nakshatra.
Yes. Perfect. Yes.
And the third pada of Purva Bhadrapada nakshatra. So 8 years of his 16 years of Jupiter. Yeah.
That would be in the 5th house for him. Yeah,
5th house and 11th house.
Yes.
So 8 years of 16 years of Jupiter Mahadasha are over. That time he gets killed. So nakshatra in operation was Purva Bhadrapada, falling in Aquarius, and Venus and Mercury, who are in the natal chart in Vishakha nakshatra of Jupiter, they are coming in Purva Bhadrapada nakshatra of Jupiter only. See the 4th and 10th house also, same planets of Lagna in 1/7 axis, Venus, Mercury and Mars, and out of which Mars is going retrograde. Venus, Mars are in Jupiter nakshatra Vishakha at the time of birth. Mars is the lord of Maraka houses. Venus is also the 8th lord, the death house, and the Lagna lord also. So whatever impact is going to happen on the self. There is something like mass death. Suppose if some train accident, bomb sport and explosion and things, people die in masses. But here, because Venus is a Lagna lord, it was self, this thing, whatever happened on the self, on the body. Then his natal Lagna in the 7th house, they are in Rahu Ketu axis. Lagna is Libra, Rahu is in the 7th house. The Maraka Sthana, Rahu was transiting, and in the Lagna, Ketu was transiting. And Ketu also happens to be in Vishakha, if I'm not wrong. Out of all the 8 dashas that he gets, whatever sequence we saw right from Mercury till Jupiter, all the 8 Mahadashas he has got, the major events that happened in 3 main dashas. Venus, he completed his barrister degree from England. He got married at an early age of 18. And his 3 sons were born during that period only. But the sad thing was his father died. Because if you see Libra as an ascendant, 9th house is Gemini. The Gemini lord was in Lagna. So the father, some event to the father, like that, during the Venus Dasha. Then comes the Mars Dasha. 1915, he returned to India and started Satyagraha and other movements. 7th Lord helped him fight against the opponents and get fame. And then last Jupiter Dasha, 1940 to 48, he had to face litigations. 6th Lord and jail, because Pisces is a natural 12th house. And he was assassinated after India got freedom. So his karma of going to a different path was fulfilled. But he had to give up his life for that. Like that. Okay, after doing these 2 charts, I actually helped a person who was jobless for 3-4 years. And that family, the mother and the brother, they were really, really worried that what to do. He has all the capabilities, but still he is getting rejected in interviews and not getting the job. Now, the question was about the job, when will he get it and where will he get it. His Dasha sequence that time when the question was asked was Saturn Mahadasha, started at 2008 till 2016, and Moon Antardasha. I took only two things. Now Saturn nakshatras will be Pushya nakshatra, Anuradha nakshatra, and Uttara Bhadrapada. So we will see that Pushya nakshatra will be the Cancer in 9th house, Lagna house, and the 5th house. The planets sitting there are Mars, Mandi also, but then we take Mars here. Mars is 23. So Mars is in Anuradha only. Or it is going to, I think Mars is in Anuradha only, Amatyakara. And is retrograde Venus, even if Venus seems to be exalted, but it is retrograde. So giving impact of Aquarius also a little bit. And Venus is 18 degrees. So Venus is also in Uttara Bhadrapada. And Rahu is 5 degrees, so it is in Purva Bhadrapada, the Jupiter nakshatra, which is just across it. Jupiter is also retrograde. Okay, so June 7, the person asked about jobs, so naturally I looked into the 6th house and 10th house. 6th house has got exalted Sun, but debilitated Saturn with Mercury. Now Sun is the 5th lord, Sun is the 10th lord, Leo sign. Leo sign falls in his 10th house. So something to do, the connection between the 6th house and the 10th house, which we saw it in the first slide, that his daily job is his karma. So his karma is dependent on the daily job, but because Saturn is debilitated, maybe there was a delay in getting the job. Now Saturn is the lord of 3rd house and 4th house. So maybe something to do with communication and the home, some home front problem that he was jobless. And Mercury happens to be the 8th lord and the 11th lord of gains. But then in 11th house you have Ketu and retrograde Jupiter. And 8th lord has Moon. Moon, which we saw that it's moving fast and quick. So his mind was not stable. And in the 8th house, the 9th lord going in the 8th house. So his Bhagyesh, the getting the, what would you call a Bhagyesh? It's going in the 12th house.
Vyayasthana.
Yeah,
Bhagyadipati has gone to Vyaya. Vyaya means has gone to 12th from the 9th.
Yeah. So that is the impact he is getting because of the lordships of Mercury, Saturn. Though Saturn's debilitation is cancelled because of exalted Sun, but still it will give some impact of the 3rd and 4th house. So before doing the analysis through the nakshatra and Dasha lords, what I said that he will get a job, but due to Saturn, this getting a job will be very late. It's like 3-4 years he had to wait. And moreover, you see the lordship of 3rd and 4th house. 3rd house is of small journeys also, and 4th house is your home. So I said he will have to go away from the home and then find a job. Okay, so when he is finding a job, he will get a call, but little away from the home, he'll have to travel a little bit. That's what I was saying it. And then I said, let's see the Dasha, Saturn and Moon. So the 2nd and 3rd lord sitting in the 6th house. So he is definitely going to give the job. But unless and until the karmas are over. Now Saturn was transiting in Jyeshtha Nakshatra. It is in Jyeshtha Nakshatra still. And his Moon, I will show you the transit chart also. And I said, let me calculate the Saturn and Moon and how they are transiting and impacting whether he will get a job or not. So Saturn Dasha is of 19 years, which is converted into 228 months divided by 3 nakshatras of Saturn. So 76 months in each nakshatra, Pushya, Anuradha and Uttara Bhadrapada. His Moon sits in the 8th house and Moon is just 3 degrees, Mrigashira Nakshatra. So after Mrigashira Nakshatra, the first Saturn Nakshatra will be Pushya in the 9th house, Cancer. So his first for 1/3 part of Saturn Dasha of 76 months will be in the ninth house. Then next 76 months will be in the Lagna. And right now, so he started with Pushya, then Anuradha and Uttara Bhadrapada. Pushya 76 months divided by 4. So 19 months for each pada in the ninth house. Pushya Nakshatra time is over. 76 months is over. Because he started in 2008. And right now it is 2017. So Pushya Nakshatra part is over. He is into Anuradha Nakshatra right now in Lagna. And his Mars happens to be in Anuradha. So Mars is the sixth lord also of job. Mars is Lagna lord as well as the sixth lord. So then I said that, okay, he is going to get a job, but due to Saturn, there is a delay. And job is for sure because Mars is like a fighter and he'll go forward. Even if you see a crowd, it will be a person with strong Mars that he will find a way and go forward. So I said with Mars, he is going to get a job, sixth lord, that you don't worry. Anuradha Nakshatra also 76 divided by 4, it is 19 months. 2 padas, next 38 months, they are over. Now it is Anuradha third pada going on. And 23 degrees will be just 2 padas over and he is going to the third pada, Mars. So it is actually coinciding with his Mars sitting there, the sixth lord and the Lagna lord sitting there, and that Anuradha Nakshatra operating, the Saturn Mahadasha operating. And Saturn happens to be very close, Saturn is in Jyeshtha Nakshatra. So if you, like you say, Diptansh of any planet, that if a planet is sitting at a particular place, 15 degrees before and 15 degrees after, it throws its light. So that way, if we see Saturn sitting in Jyeshtha Nakshatra is impacting a little bit Anuradha Nakshatra because he is ruling that Anuradha Nakshatra. So a person, suppose if I am driving somewhere and then I come back to my house, when I am nearing my house, I know that this is somewhere near my house. So even if I fall asleep after a long travel, I just get up and see and then it's familiar with me. I am familiar to that place because I know it's just nearing my house. It's the same impact that Saturn is in Jyeshtha and Anuradha being his own nakshatra, he has some impact on that. So this was the chart. Hypothetically, I said, let's make a chart of July and just put the transit chart and just see what happens. And I have not taken any particular specific timings, but I have just matched it with his original Lagna. And amazingly, Saturn is in Lagna, Saturn Mahadasha going on. And you see Moon in the ninth house with Sun and Mars. Right now we said Mars is the sixth lord and the Lagna lord. Mars is to give him a job. He goes into the Bhagyasthan of the destiny. He goes with Moon, the Antardasha lord, and Sun, because Sun is exalted in the sixth house and Sun is the lord of karma, 10th house. So there is a connection between the 10th house and 6th house, lords of 10th and 6th, as well as the Antardasha planet. So Sun, Mars, Moon and Saturn, they all impacted, and he actually got a call for an interview. He did the interview and now he's going away from the house and he's going to some other place, Siliguri or somewhere, and he will be doing his job now. So the person who
He's got the job then. He's got the job.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's got the job.
Okay, great.
So then I said, if we really look into the nakshatras and the transit of planets over the nakshatras, if it is Mahadasha, Antardasha Lord, it actually gives the impact. So this is what my observation and finding. Yeah, that's all. That's all.
Pallavi ji, I think this is one of the the best researches that I've seen in recent times, because I'm always fascinated by Nadi. I've done Nadi for a couple of years. Then I have done transits using Nadis as well, but I've never used it with nakshatras and never used it with Mahadasha system. So I think what you've done, it's a systems approach, I would say, by using a very systematic way of looking at charts, so that you can there is nothing like it depends on the predictive ability of the native of the astrologer. I think if you can follow the rules that you have been, prescribing in this discussion, I think everybody will get fantastic results. And I think the deep insights come from knowing the nakshatras and the nature of the nakshatras. I think that is somewhere that maybe if we had the time, I think you can also tell the quality, because if you're saying Anuradha nakshatra where your Mars is, so
Yeah.
you can give him some certain clues. It could be because of a friend that he must have got to know about this
No,
company.
no. What I did, I told him it is Mars. So Mars is your brother also.
Correct.
So I told him that maybe you will be initiating that. And then he said that actually, from a relative of mine, I arranged the interview for my brother.
Wow. Okay.
And that is how I have arranged. So I said, Mars, maybe you are the one who are taking the initiative and
Initiative
finding
is
a
Lagna,
job.
yeah, Lagna Lord, and even is the sixth Lord.
Sixth law.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So I
But
think.
what I want to do further, like once
Mm,
I have done this research, what I want to do is take one planet, its three nakshatras, the themes and qualities and the symbology of that nakshatra, and then come up with something that, okay, suppose a person is having a sun nakshatra at the time of birth, then what will be the nature of the person depending on the three nakshatras of sun? What will be the nature of a person having moon nakshatra at the time of birth, and what will be the life pattern? I want to study on those lines
I
more.
think that will be very, very key if you can do that, Pallavi.
Yeah,
Why I say is the trine nakshatras that we're talking about, all the moon nakshatras, all the sun nakshatras, they happen to be the karma nakshatra
yeah,
for
yeah,
each other.
yeah.
For each of the previous nakshatra, the next
Hmm.
moon nakshatra or the next sun nakshatra becomes the karma nakshatra. So somewhere that I feel
Yeah,
that there
yeah,
is a very strong correlation there, and
yeah,
I would like you to go and do more research on this area,
yeah,
and maybe come back again on my
yeah,
channel to maybe teach us about something, some of the
yeah.
new insights that you have, some more observations that you would have. But I think this is brilliant. So thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you very much, Pallaviji. This is
And I want to, next time I want to start, with Sun Nakshatra, because in ancient times, the Vinshatri Dasha started with Kritika
Kritika
Nakshatra.
Nakshatra. Yes, correct.
So I want to start with Kritika, Uttara Falguni, and the third Bhadra, no, Uttara Ashadha.
Uttarashada.
So I want to concentrate on these three, work on it, taking the animal symbols, even the trees, and the impact that they are making collectively on a human being,
Beautiful.
irrespective where these sun nakshatras fall, whether it is in the second house and third house and fourth, that is immaterial.
Yeah.
But basically the sun nakshatras and the position of sun then in the chart, how the position of the sun is correlating with the sun nakshatras and the planets, how they are helping a native to progress in life.
Beautiful.
I'll start with sun
Yes,
nakshatras.
I think that would be cool if you can do that, and then come
Yeah,
back
I will.
again, and then let
I
us
will.
discuss more about that. So, but for
Yeah.
today, I really want to thank you, Pallaviji, for coming and doing this wonderful session.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
And
for calling me. But then, see, I didn't have the courage to come and really present, because I was really feeling maybe I go wrong by mixing
no,
two, three methods.
no, I don't think so. I think so. This is a very clear method, and it's beautifully taken, and you explain each of those methods, and then
Yeah,
how you use that method to actually make an analysis.
yeah.
So this is a great technique, Pallaviji. So thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
coming in.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks a
So
lot.
see you again very
Namaste.
soon.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Thank you.